Hello, welcome back to the Healthy GSO podcast. This is Dr. Aaron LeBauer, your host, and today my special guest is Christine Hollis. Christine is the host of the Sweat City podcast, as well as a CrossFit coach. She works at Lululemon, and she's a soon-to-be mom. So, Christine, thank you so much for joining us on the show. I really appreciate you being here today.
Absolutely, I'm so excited.
Well, what I'd love you to do is just have you tell us a little bit about yourself and what do you do, and really who do you help? Because you do a couple different things, but so can you tell us a little bit about what's your personal mission or who you help and what you're all about?
Absolutely. As Aaron mentioned, as Dr. LeBauer mentioned, I am a CrossFit coach, and I also work at Lululemon. So I help people in many different facets, I guess, in both of those industries. At Lululemon, I help people find the clothing that they need in order to reach the goals that they have, whether it be for something sweat related, like running a marathon or getting into downward dog for the first time. Or maybe it's just finding a really comfortable pair of clothes that's super versatile for traveling whenever we can actually do that more often than now. I also at Lululemon host events and have had the pleasure of meeting so many different people from the Greensboro, Winston-Salem, Burlington, High Point area through these events. I also do trainings and all the fun logistical stuff like scheduling and whatnot. So I love working at Lululemon because I do get to help people in the community, but mostly because I get to help my employees reach their fullest potential and help them with giving them the tools, really, because it's not like I'm just a tool in the toolbox, if you will, of helping coach them through whatever personal goal they have or whatever personal development aspect of their life they're working on. Lululemon is an amazing company that gives us as managers the tools in order to help others through working with us or through different events that we'll do to really live that out. So that's really, really fun aspect of my job.
That's awesome. So did you were you a competitive athlete doing things and then decided to get a job at Lulu or start doing CrossFit? Where did that journey start, and how'd you get to where you are right now?
Yeah, so I wasn't really athletic growing up. I was on recreational swim teams throughout my entire life. I was a flag girl in high school in the marching band. Mostly just did that for fun with my friends. And I didn't really find my passion for fitness until I was in college. And that's whenever I started doing CrossFit, and I started doing it with a friend. I just really loved seeing people pushing themselves really hard, feeling the benefits of that myself, of pushing myself hard, doing things that I didn't think I was going to be capable of, and breaking down those barriers that I had for myself. So that was about 7 years ago, and I did CrossFit for about 3-4 years throughout college and then afterwards. And I got introduced to a lot of different people through doing CrossFit. Some of them had worked for Lululemon, and so they had reached out to me asking if I'd be interested in a job. And so I took a seasonal educator role, which only comes around during the holiday times. And that was about 4 years ago. So ever since then, just been working there, and had some other things happen in my journey along the way. But yeah, I definitely wasn't a competitive athlete by any means, and I still don't even think I'm that competitive, but I do just love fitness itself, and I love being part of the fitness community, and Lululemon allowing me to do that.
That's awesome. And I know as an employee at Lulu, they encourage you guys, or even almost pay for you to go work out at a lot of different places. Isn't that right?
Yeah, so it's one of two things. So they give all employees a health benefit that allows us to drop into group fitness classes and pays for us to drop into group fitness classes. Really, that's not anything that's related to building brand resonance in the community, or trying to engage our community to to like come together in a certain way. That's
Hmm.
more so just so that way the employees can have like a healthy life
Right.
and have the means to do that. The second thing is that we do have like some budget that we're given as a store in order to help employees go out into the community and meet new people, um, and just increase like our brand awareness and learn from the community too. Like, what would you want to see from Lululemon? Because every community is very different,
Hmm.
and that's what I think is so cool about like this global company is that they still invest money in learning about like their local communities and what makes like Greensboro like our fitness community so wonderful.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Because I know that I've participated with you guys in a run. You were doing I think it was about this time last year, where you're doing a weekly Saturday morning run, and we came through our clinic and did like a little workshop ahead of time, and we ran to the finish together. And I was like, wow, I haven't run a 5K in a few months, and
And
but
you
it
did
felt great.
awesome.
Yeah, but it was an awesome event, and it brought in people from pretty much everywhere around in the community. We had like 25 something people,
Yeah.
and you guys do that quite often, don't you?
Yeah, so the event that you're talking about was the brunch club that we did.
Hmm.
It was like Be Brunch Club, like play on words. And it was something really fun that we did where we partnered with wine styles and different people who were in the fitness community like yourself um, and professionals in order to get them to host the run. So they would either do the run themselves, which you did, or they would just come and show up afterwards and like hang out with everybody, let them know what they're about, to bridge our community together even
Yeah,
more. So I
yeah,
loved doing that run club. It was so much fun.
yeah. That's cool. And I love that you guys are all about creating community, because there is a lot of times people are like, well, we can't possibly work with them because they have some kind of competing something with us, and it's very like scarcity minded. Whereas our world needs more abundance and more of what you guys are doing, which is really awesome. Can you tell me, Christine, like where did the idea to create the Sweat City podcast come from, and what's that all about?
Yeah, so I had this idea last year, and I think it just stemmed from like my own personal curiosity
Hmm.
with getting to know people, and as I mentioned a lot, like just working at Lululemon, I get to meet so many cool people in our community, and I have a passion for fitness. I have a passion for nutrition, and I just love talking to people, learning more about them, and so I had an idea of like, oh, well, wouldn't it be cool if we started a podcast where we just got to like interview people who were part of the fitness, nutrition, wellness community in Greensboro and just gave them like a platform to share what they're all about. And maybe it would encourage somebody who never thought that they would be able to do any of that, that they actually could. Because it sometimes whenever I think you see people who are part of the fitness community, like part of a run club, they can run really well, or part of a biking group and they just like are already fit. It
Hmm.
can be really intimidating. Um, and so part of that was also I wanted to help others see that they're capable of that too. That like everybody has a starting point. There's so many options here in Greensboro and like the surrounding area if you don't live here, where you can find something that's going to work for you that will help you live a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. And especially right now, with the pandemic, there's more people out riding bikes and running than pretty much doing anything else. I mean, especially even with gyms open a little bit. Have you guys seen um, just that there are more people? Like, have you seen that too? That there's just more people out running and outside right now?
Yeah, I've seen that. I think I've seen it with work because I'm asking people questions like, "What
Hmm.
are you doing right now to sweat?" Is like one of the questions that we ask
Hmm.
people in order to figure out what type of product to suggest to them.
Right.
But I'm also seeing it just driving around town and myself going on like walks or runs while I could in different areas of Greensboro. Like I love doing it at Brimble Park in the Greenway, Lake Daniel, and just even like around Friendly Center. Honestly, like whenever gyms weren't open quite as much, I would see people like running around Friendly Center. And I would recognize them because I'd be like, "Oh, I remember you from this gym. Like, that's cool. You're still doing something,
Mm,
and getting outdoors."
that's great. What's the number one kind of misconception people have about getting started with a new fitness activity?
That's a great question. Um, Gosh, I mean, I think it just really, I think it depends, but I also think like, I think that a lot of times people have this misconception that it's not for them,
Hmm.
that they have it in their mind that they're not someone who works out. And I myself was that way for a really long time. Like I said, I didn't grow up very active. I mean, I played like recreational sports, just the swimming really, and the
Right.
flag foot and the flag girl. But I never thought like I'm an active person. And so I think that that is that's something that like stands in the way of a lot of people. It's just you have to reframe it and think like figure out some way to reframe it so that way it encourages you to go. Like
Hmm.
I am someone who wants to stay healthy. I am someone who can do this. Um, and I think also like people wait for motivation to come, and motivation isn't always there. And so just like getting moving, just doing that first step and not getting in your head about X, Y, and Z is going to stop me, or I'm not good enough for this. Just like making that first step, getting that movement going is going to be more powerful than just waiting for the motivation to come.
Wow, that's really powerful. I think it's true. I think a lot of it comes from like our self-talk, right? Like my arms aren't big, so I can't go to CrossFit, or
Yeah,
I'm not flexible enough. Like, why would I ever go to yoga,
yeah.
right? But it's really like if you're not flexible, like you really should be doing yoga, and if you're not strong, you really should be lifting weights, and probably a combination of the two. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Oh yeah, I absolutely agree. I mean, through what being able to go to different gyms and studios, I've
Mhm.
realized how much like yoga and the breath work that I learned at yoga and the body awareness I learned at yoga can apply to what I'm doing at CrossFit, can apply
Mhm.
to what I'm doing in running. And similarly with like running, like focusing on that mental fortitude for the
Right.
longer distances can apply towards like so many other things. So I think you're so right with that.
Yeah. So, Christine, what do you do right now to sweat?
So right now I'm going on really long walks in my neighborhood.
Mhm.
At 37 weeks pregnant, I am feeling very full. My hips are not feeling great all the time.
Right.
So I'm just like walking around my neighborhood trying to get in at least like 30 minutes twice a day.
Mhm.
And then just focusing on like breathing exercises. And then I'm also doing squats,
Mhm.
just like really opening my hips up, trying to get ready.
Cool. Still doing any strength training right now, or more body weight and walking?
A little bit of strength training, so
Mhm.
I'll do it probably twice a week, and just focusing on lighter load, but what my body is doing. So like
Right.
the form, the movement, and just trying to like maintain. I mean, it's definitely like a shift in my mindset of like, don't try to go heavier. This isn't like that's not what the goal is.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to strength train twice a week whenever I feel good. I just, like I said, with the movement before motivation, not motivated every day, but
Right.
getting in there and doing it.
That's great. What are some of your recommendations for people who want to get started in fitness, or who are maybe doing it but they're struggling right now to find like where do I fit in, because maybe I was going to the gym all the time. Like, what are some of the things that either you've done or you've seen other people do successfully, especially right now when like we're out of our routine, you know?
Yeah. I think that something that is actually kind of cool that came out of this whole thing is the adaptability of these gyms, and I mean it's just so incredible, like how like resilient they are, and how much effort they've gone into putting free classes out there, or just like a trial period, so that way people can try things out. So I would recommend to look up and see like what classes are being offered online. I mean, Pure Barre is being offered online now. Yoga classes, Radiance Yoga is doing on demand. Dancing Dog is doing Zoom classes. There's a lot of CrossFit gyms that are still doing HIIT classes. I think like Burn Boot Camp. I mean, there's just so many gyms right now that are still doing online classes. And what in like a easy, accessible way to get introduced to something.
That's great. Is there a resource, or let's say hidden trail or something fun in Greensboro that you've found over the last few years that you think people might not know about?
Um,
I mean, you just shared a bunch of them, but like, is there one that like, like I might not even know about because of the numbers of people that you've been in contact with, or, is there like I don't know, something like, unique that like, I mean, I don't know, like Andra,
Yeah.
my wife just told me about the app All Trails, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like I never know about that, and it's a really cool app, and it's got like the bicentennial trail on it. I don't know if there's something new or some resource that you like a lot that most people might not know about that you can share.
Yeah, yeah. The All Trails app is awesome. Mind Body Fitness, or
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it is. The Mind Body Fitness app is a great one. They give you like local classes. Um, uh, a gym that people might not know about is AWOL Fitness.
Mm-hmm.
It's off of Church Street downtown, and it's owned by Lynch Hunt. And something that I really love that they do there is it's like HIIT style classes, but he weaves in elements of like mental and personal development
Mm-hmm.
into it. And he's working on an app right now in order to help bring that to like everybody. So you don't have to live in Greensboro in order to do the classes or learn more about like what they're up to regarding personal development and mindfulness.
Yeah.
So AWOL Fitness is somewhere that I would definitely check out.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. What if someone wants to learn more about like Sweat City podcast, where do we find that? Are you guys on like social media, or we just go to iTunes? What's the best
Yeah,
place to
so
find you?
we are on Instagram and Facebook. We have a Facebook group page, the Sweat City Collective, and
Mm-hmm.
in there we have asked questions to our audience, the people who are part of that page, to see what you guys want to know, who we need to know. We might not know somebody that we need to interview, or topics that we should cover, because we also have episodes where we just talk about like nutrition. And you can find us on Spotify and I believe iTunes, but definitely you can find us on Spotify,
Right.
and Sweat City. My co-host, got to plug him in here too. His name is Brian Siedenberg. He's
Mm-hmm.
a nutrition consultant that's here in Greensboro. Super, super knowledgeable. He's like the expert, and I'm the generalist. I know everybody, and he knows all the things about nutrition.
Right. Oh, that's awesome. I'd
So,
love to get in touch with
yeah,
him, because I think he might be a good person for the podcast, or at least just to know. So,
yeah,
um,
absolutely.
that's great. Is there something like looking back, probably like, what would you say to yourself maybe, 20 years, I don't know how old you are, 10, 20, 10, 15 years ago? Like, what would you do looking back to like 20-year-old Christine? What would you say to give yourself a piece of advice, based on like health, fitness, wellness, etc., something you've learned?
Yeah, so whenever I was 20, that's whenever I found CrossFit.
Mm-hmm.
So I would even say like maybe I'd go back like 5 more years,
Yeah.
like whenever I'm like 15, 16-year-old Christine, and say like prioritize you and your health, and here's some tools that you can do, but like go ahead and get started now, like um because I think I'm grateful that I got started so early with this, especially now through this pregnancy. It has made things pretty um, a bit more manageable, being healthy and active. But I think starting whenever I was even younger, and really like understanding the value of like what fitness and health and like nutrition can do for you whenever you just have like a couple of things in your toolbox. You don't need to know everything, but just prioritize that a little bit more, and don't be so like worried about what everyone else thinks. And just like you're enough.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. Thanks. Did you have like a did getting into well, because I know like swimming, like I swam in high school too. We practiced like twice a week.
Yeah.
It was really just like we get in the water, and Aaron splashed around. Just because I wasn't willing to do what was required to be on the varsity basketball team. I was just like, I don't want to
Yeah.
do that. I didn't want to go to the practice on vacation and all those things. But so I did swimming, and it was great. But that's that's me. That's my funny story. But and I never got a letter in swimming, even though I went to all the things, because I missed one of the swim meets. It didn't really, I didn't count. But was there something in the last, 5 to 7 years where fitness, health, nutrition, you've changed something seemingly small at the time, but that had a a bigger impact on your life, or it over time resonated, and so that you're looking back, you're going, wow, I did this one thing and it changed the way I feel, or the way I move, or my health?
Yeah, I think I have like two things for that.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is doing a more variety of activities, like really focusing on like one, like I think strength training and like having mobility is really important. So really focusing on that, and focusing on like breathing and how to move my body, and recognizing where my body is in space was something that really like changed the game for me. And I learned that through yoga. Um, and that changed the game because I was able to recognize, like, while I was in that strength training movement, okay, I can feel like my body working in this way. Something like feels a little off in this way. Here's what I'm going to change. So, like, just becoming more aware of my body. Um, and then the second thing was not being too hard on myself. Whenever I
Mm-hmm.
first got into CrossFit, I was so like gotta go paleo, gotta eat everything like to the T, and if I didn't, I felt bad. And so releasing that like such tight control, and just like realizing that you really can like focusing on healthy foods mostly, and like still like you have to live life and enjoy food, enjoy time with friends and family. So letting go of that like tight control was another thing that just like changed my mindset.
Right. Yeah. No, that's awesome. I've also been there where it's like I have to go all in on this one thing, and if I mess up, like somehow results aren't good enough. But
Yeah,
really, it's about like having fun and moving, and
yeah,
then you get stronger, right?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think you also mentioned that you notice doing the different activities where strength training and yoga have complemented each other. And I've noticed the same thing where I did yoga all the time, and then I started strength training, and I noticed I was able to get deeper in my yoga poses, or
Yeah,
vice versa. So I think that that's something that what I just want to reiterate, because I believe that our bodies need multiple activities and stimulus and stress so that we can grow and change, and even just get rid of the stress.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Well, Christine, thanks for joining us today. I really appreciate it. So I think we shared about Sweat City podcast. Your Instagram, is it Oh Hey Christine? Is that where to find you?
Yep, you can find me on
Okay.
Instagram at oh hey Christine, and then I'm on Facebook too as Christine
Okay.
Hollis. I will say the past 6 months I've taken a hiatus from social media, really because I realized one of my core values was connection, and
Mm-hmm.
through all this like craziness too with the pandemic and everything, really focusing on like what does connection look like, and that's like calling people more. It's meeting up for walks more, like the physical interactions, and so I wasn't on social media. You probably have seen ghosted Christine for the past 6 months, but I'm slowly integrating myself back into it
Yeah.
through like intentional posting and stuff. So you can find me there.
Okay, cool. And if we want to connect with you in person, what's the best way to do that? Is it to drop by the store in a few months when you're back from maternity leave?
Yeah. If you want to connect with me in person, you can just come by the store. It's the Lululemon that's in Friendly Center, and I am on maternity leave for quite a bit of time, but um, just reach out to me, I guess, if you have any like questions, or if you just want to like talk more, like just hang out. Like I love getting to know people. So
Yeah.
you can
Awesome.
reach out to me on those social media platforms.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate you spending the time with us and sharing your wisdom and knowledge and experience. Well, this is the Healthy GSO podcast. This is Dr. LeBauer and Christine Hollis. Get out there, keep moving, vary it. So do different things every day, and keep moving, and stay healthy, well, and we'll see you on the next show. Thanks so much.